Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of a Chausson exclusive line X550. So as I start the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first, you'll notice you've got your on light above the door, your two fridge vents. Your door is central locking, so you just press the Fiat key and that locks everything. Press below and that unlocks everything. Or you can manually unlock the habitation door with a habitation key. Behind the back driver's wheel is the location of your wastewater outlet. So this is anything that you've drained off via a plug hole. You can pull this out like so, and you'll notice the water is coming out further back. You normally drive over a grid on the way out of your site and leave this open whilst the water drains off down the grid, so that you're lighter on weight, you can put more payload on, and that you're not as heavy on consumption of diesel. But make sure in the winter that this is fully drained off. Cassette toilet, so using the habitation key you can lock and unlock this. And then you want to make sure that the mechanism isn't engaged, which I'll go into more detail about that inside the vehicle. But you'd lift the handle and slide the cassette out if the blade was to be closed. If it was to be open, this won't come out. Got some wheels so you can drag it to the waste disposal point. And then to empty, it's very simple, just remove the grey cap, press the orange button, tip the content of the cassette out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so you put some water in, give it a rinse and tip out again. And then you would go in with a capful of the liquid, which is 120 ml of either the green or the blue, depending on what the site wants you to use will determine whether you use the green or the blue. You can also get the tablets. In the tablets, all you need to do is put a pint of water in and then drop a tablet down the toilet, but making sure that there's a pint of water in, because the tablet does need the water to break down the cellophane and activate the chemical. And then this just clicks back in like so. You've got your stylish rear bumper and then a reverse camera on the top. This bike rack doesn't come as standard, so I'm not going to include it in this video. If you want to see how the Fiamma Lift 77 bike rack works, look out for the other video that'll be on our channel. And you'll notice you've got your reverse camera and your high level brake light. So as we walk around the passenger side, starting from the back, you've got your LPG, so liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker. Again, habitation key to open the lock. You can fit one 6 kilogram Cala gas bottle in here. What you want to do is you want to use the straps behind, so there's two, top and bottom, and you want to strap the bottle in just so that it's safe and secure when you're driving about with gas on board. So strap it in. You'll need an adjustable spanner or gas spanner, and it's a left hand thread with gas. So opposite to normal, left to tighten, right to loosen. Then you want to nip it up, turn it on and off from the top of the cylinder. Make sure that the gas cylinder is turned off before you do start travelling, as it's a lot safer should you be involved in a collision that the gas is secure. If you were to ever change it to a gas low, you can fit a 11 kilogram gas low bottle into here, which is the refillable system, but you can't get any bigger than a 6 in on a Chausson. Storage here, so this is the back of the storage cupboard that I'll show you once inside. So you've got a light, two hanging rails, just a service area for relays and wiring, which is just mainly for technicians, so you don't really need to worry about that. Freshwater intake, so again using the key, lockable cap. Go and get yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. Get an expandable hose that goes into a little bag, as this is like a compact vehicle, so you don't want to be carrying a 25-meter rigid hose, or you can carry a small rigid hose, flat end into there, other end onto the tap, and you want to fill it until it overflows. This is when you know that you've got a full tank of fresh water on board. If not, you can put as much as you want in by looking at the control panel and seeing what your water level is at. To drain off the water, so you fill there, to drain off you need to go underneath the vehicle, and there's a black bung on the end of a pipe. This is a 15mm compression fitting, so you might want to change this to a tap at some point, which you can get from your local plumbing shop. But when draining down, all you need to do is pull this off and it'll drain the water out when winterizing, or if you've taken on any source of contaminated water. Hookup points, so to hook the vehicle up if you are charging it at home before you go away on a trip, or if you are on a site. You get your hookup blade, lift the collar, lift the flap on the van, slide it on here, hook the vehicle first, then the power source, and when unhooking, push the blue clip down to release the pins in the lead so that you can pull it off safer. And never walk round with a live lead, so that's why we always say van first, site, and then when unhooking, site first, then the van, so that you never walk around with a live lead and potentially electrocute yourself. Trimmer vent, so this gives the location of the boiler. So the boiler is behind your sofa here, behind the passenger seat. When heating the water on gas, this cover needs to come off. It's very simple, hand on the top, thumb in the middle, peel it off. Pop that in the passenger door pocket, and then when you come to drive away, pop it on. When you wash the van, pop it on. If you're heating it on electric, it can stay on, but if you've left it on and your red lights come on the control for the hot water in the cupboard inside on gas, what you need to do is turn it off, come out, take the cover off, blow into the vent, which will eliminate all the build-up of gas, and then you can go back in, switch it on, and it'll light on gas to heat your water. Beside the passenger door is a location of your fuel filler, which opens with the main fade key. And then because it's a new compliant Euro 6 diesel engine, it takes AdBlue, so this is a 19-litre tank. It'll come on the dash when it needs it. You simply top it up at the petrol station. You can buy it on the pumps now, which is about 150 a litre, or you can buy it in the drums and top it up. But it'll do about 5,500 miles on a full tank. At around 4,500 miles, you will get a warning just to top it up, and just top it up as soon as you can, because failing to do so will cause problems with the AdBlue system. So just top it up and look after the AdBlue as well as you would with the fuel. Tyre pressure, so 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi. Leisure batteries underneath the seat, carb batteries underneath the floor, so you've just got to lift these caps off and lift the flap up to get access to the carb battery if you want to put a charger on or anything. Bonnet release. And then looking underneath the bonnet, so you've got your fluids. The main one you're going to need, which is your screen wash, which is up here. Then you've got 4 tabs, and that lifts off to fill your coolant. Brake fluid, oil filler. There isn't any power steering fluid because it's electronic steering on the new Series 8 Ducato, and there isn't an oil dipstick for checking the levels. It's through the dashboard because it's electrical. Paint code 249 for the blank or white, which is there. And then should you need to give or receive a jump start, you'd earth off this bolt head here, And then you've got your air filter and your headlight. Pop the key just in between here, and this will expose the positive terminal for giving or receiving a jump start just off here. To operate the control panel, so you've got your master switch in the top left hand corner, which turns the vehicle on and off. So depending if you're hooked up, you'll have two 30 volt. If you're not, you will just have 12 volt off your leisure battery when you turn the vehicle on. But if you are hooked up, you'll get this little green light here next to the hookup lead, which means you are receiving two 30 volt. Next along, you've got your lights. So turn your light circuit on, and then they all are individually switched around the vehicle. But to operate the drop down bed, and the drop down table, you need to have the lights on, because that's how it's been wired when the vehicle was manufactured. Pump, which is next one, picture the tap. You need to turn this on should you be using the taps, toilet or shower, making sure that you've got enough water on board first. Otherwise you can burn the pump out, but turn the pump on and you'll get a pressurized water flow. Awning light, which is the light on the outside of the vehicle, and then these correspond with these buttons on the bottom. So your first button on the bottom in the left hand corner is a picture of a trailer. This is your leisure battery reading. Take out the hookup to give a true reading of the batteries, because when you hooked up it will give you a false reading. And then you do have a picture of a truck, which is the van battery. Wiggly lines, water. This is how much fresh water you've got in your freshwater tank. So you've got half a tank of fresh water. When this goes to red, it indicates that the fresh water is ready to refill. And when the one below goes red, it means that the waste is full, and you need to pull the lever behind the back wheel and empty the waste water off. And then finally, you've got this button here which brightens and dims the control panel. Should it be too bright for you on the night, or should it be too dull to see, you can brighten the control panel. To operate the Webasto Smart Control diesel heater, press and start the control panel up. As you can see there, it's gone green, which means it's a quick start button. That is the heater on, and now you just need to adjust the dial to adjust the temperature of the inside of your vehicle. So you can go all the way up to 35 degrees heat. So get it at the temperature you want, press it till it goes green. To turn it off, you press, it'll go white, and you can go through the ventilation stages. So you can up your ventilation, which is just the assisted fan that blows the heat around the vehicle, and then hit it again, quick start button. Green means the heater's on. Adjust your temperature, but always make sure that you've got a quarter of a tank of diesel or more in the main tank, because the Webasto takes it a lot higher up than the fuel tank, so you need to have that little bit extra in the tank for the Webasto to start feeding the heater with diesel. And you can have this on when you're on the road, but make sure that you turn it off before you do start filling the vehicle with fuel. To operate the Dometic fridge, so you press and hold to turn the fridge on, like so. So it's turned it on there, and you'll notice it gives you three sources. So it gives you battery, which is 12 volt off the engine when it's running, which is just designed to keep the fridge at the same temperature it was when departing. So the battery setting is for if you've moved from one site to another and you've been there a couple of days, your shopping's all chilled, you're moving 70 miles down the road, it's a good 2-hour drive, it'll keep your shopping nice and fresh. So it acts as a cool box. You've got gas, which you'd use if you're wild camping, because you wouldn't have any other source available to you than gas. And then you've got the picture of the plug, which is 230 volt hookup, which you'd use if you were on site or you were pre-chilling the fridge at home. So with the pre-chilling stage, you'd hook the vehicle up a few days before. Not only does it allow the fridge to cool, but it allows your leisure battery to take a good charge before you go away. The day before, put your shopping in and then allow that to chill overnight, and then when you're ready to go, swap it to the battery setting with the engine running, and it'll get a feed from the alternator. But this fridge has got an automatic energy selection mode, so the little blue light under auto, it'll do its own thing for you. So at the minute it's found the best source available, which is hookup. If I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over to gas, and if I was to start the engine, it would go over to the 12 volt setting. You can press mode to change between the different modes, but leave it on automatic, it's the best way. Then you don't have to fiddle around with it, it just does its own thing. You just hook it up and it goes to hook up, you unhook it, it goes to gas, you start the engine, it goes to 12 volt. But please note, with the automatic setting, it does wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas once you've knocked the engine off. Because if you want to fill with fuel and you want to go into a petrol forecourt, the last thing you want is your fridge starting to ignite where there's fumes of petrol about. So it waits 20 minutes, so what you've got to do is just press mode and manually select gas. Temperature here, 5 being the coldest, so have it on max when pre-chilling, and then once you put your shopping in, just drop it down to 3 or 4, because sometimes it can freeze the fridge. Travel catch, so you can lock them top and bottom when you're traveling, so that the door doesn't come open, but push it over to open the door. You've got a slimline fridge freezer from Dometic with freezer box. Once you are finished with using the vehicle, so you're either winterizing the vehicle or you're not using it for the couple of weeks, just leave your door open. So to do so, you can pull this little clip out here, pop it onto there, and it'll keep the door open with it switched off, and it'll stop the smells from forming with the air being trapped in the fridge and making your motorhome smell. So remember just to leave your door open when you're not using the fridge on the vehicle. In the top kitchen cupboard is the location of your hot water switches. So you've got a Truma boiler and you've got 2 switches, so you can heat it on. Truma boiler EL 230 volt electric, Truma boiler gas. The gas side is where the cover needs to come off. If you're heating it on electric, the cover can stay on. It's only gas to allow the fumes that the gas burner is burning out of the vehicle. So starting off with the gas, you've got 2 settings. So it's off in the middle, it's down for 70 degrees if heating your water on gas, and it's up for 50 degrees if heating your water on gas. Should you get a little red light on here, it either means that you've run out of gas, your cover's been left on, or you've not switched the gas on. 10 times out of 10 it's because you've left your cover on. So what you need to do is turn the switch off, take the cover off, blow into the vent outside, and then come back and switch the switch back on to either 50 degrees or 70 degrees depending on how hot you want your water. But if you're on a site, don't waste your gas, use your electric, and you've got 750 watts of heating your water on electric at the top, or 1500 watts of heating your gas, your water even, on electric at the bottom. So 750, 1500 watts of heating your water on electric, off in the middle. And if you're in desperate need of water, you can use gas and electric together, which will drastically reduce the time it takes to heat that 10 litre boiler of hot water. Across the back of the vehicle, you've got your washroom. So you can pull your concertina shower door around, and it is formed a shower cubicle. Stop the toilet from getting wet. You've got a hanging rail in here for wet towels, but also doubles up great if you've been caught in the rain walking the dog. You can hang your coats in here, allow them to drip dry. You can use the shower head to wash them off if they're muddy or sandy. And then you do have a skylight with fly screen and blackout blind on there, but do be careful because they're on a spring, so they're very strong, these fly screen and blackout blinds. And then if you want to open it, first of all, there's a little clip, so always lock it once you've shut it. Push it to the right to unlock, and then use the dial and you can open the skylight to allow air and ventilation into the vehicle. But before travel, you always want to make sure that the windows and skylights are always securely fastened. Toiletry cabinet. Sink. So as long as you've got your pump on, you'll get a pressurized flow of water. And that's the hot water getting warm there now. Once you've used it, do be careful when you push it up, because there is just a channel underneath here. It's not very deep, so don't push it right the way up with loads of water in there, because you could flood your washroom and on your toilet. So just slowly push it up until it drains away slowly through the channel into your wastewater. Washroom lights just here. And then to operate the toilet, well, first of all we'll show you that there's a little hidden cupboard here. Getting back onto the toilet, so to operate it, make sure the pump's on. Press the blue button at the back, which is your freshwater flush. So press the button, put a little bit of water into the toilet, the wall of the toilet. That helps keep the seal lubricated between the toilet and the cassette. And then what you want to do is open the blade. This grey handle is known as the blade, so it engages the mechanism and opens the trap door between the toilet and the cassette. So you want to slide that to the right. It's now open, so you can now use the toilet. It's going to stop the blade handle from getting dirty. Everything's going to go into the cassette. Then after use, you're going to flush the toilet again. If you want to use any pink liquid, if you've bought it in a multi-pack, obviously it doesn't take pink. There's no separate reservoir for the pink like older motorhomes and caravans. Put a small amount into a spray bottle and dilute it with water. Spray the bowl, flush. It'll do the same job. It'll clean the toilet bowl and it'll give a nice smell. Flush, and then bring this back to the left, so close it. And then when the cassette's full, you'll get a light on here which indicates it's full. Once, if you do in that routine, then you'll be able to pull it straight out the outside of the vehicle because the mechanism isn't engaged. If you try to get the cassette out and it's not coming out, you've probably left this open. And that is your washroom. But you do have the main washroom door here, which is just on a strap, which slides along for when using the toilet. You've got this door as well, which is part of your wardrobe. So you've got a large wardrobe this side and a wardrobe that side. You can use it as a dressing room in the back to get dressed, so you can shut that. 2 coat hangers there, loads of storage. Obviously the duct board for your shower, which goes in there. It's just better for bearing weight and helps with the water. As water doesn't pool, it'll saturate the wood and then it'll drain off. Hanging rail, carpets, carb mat, and some storage, which I presume is for shoes. A shoe rack, which is a good idea. On this side, we've got 2 shelves and then some storage. So that is your main wardrobe, but you've got some shelves this side, but access to in here from outside, and a slide out drawer at the bottom. So you've got your infill cushions there, some cushions for the lounge. TV mounting point as soon as you walk in the door of the motorhome. Pull this down and you'll be able to slide it out and get it to the right angle that you want the telly at, but push it in until it clips, and that's it, secure for travel. And then behind you do have 2 12-volt points, a TV point and a 230-volt socket, but they don't come standard with a TV aerial. You'll need to get your dealer to fit you a TV aerial for your telly to work. But the best tellies we recommend are the Avtex 12-volt TVs, because if you're going to do wild camping, you can use the telly wherever you are. Whereas if you're going to get a normal TV, household TV, and put it in here, you've got to be hooked up for this to work. In the kitchen, you do have 2 gas burners, which making sure that your lights are on as well to get your ignition. So there's one, there's the other, and then you do have your electric hot plate, which is this one here, which works on 230 volt only. So you've got to be hooked up for that to work. Allow these to cool before you can put the cooker hood down so it doesn't shatter the glass. And then you've got oven at the bottom, which is lit there, and then above you do have your grill. You may want to take these out or wrap these up when travelling, as they can cause a bit of vibration when on the road. You've got nothing under here, it's just a false panel. Storage, grey gas isolation valves, so if you've got any problems with gas, turn your bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation service. The technician will test each gas appliance. Storage drawer, cutlery drawer, and then you've got your switch for your lights underneath your drop down bed, your switch for your electric drop down table, 2 USBs, a 230 volt socket, and your electric bed switch. Behind your passenger seat, if you take your cushions off your lounge and lift the flap up, this is the location of your Truma boiler. So your boiler can heat the water on gas or electric, as the switches are in the kitchen cupboard like I've just shown you. But in the winter, it's very important that you drain the water out of here, because if you don't and it goes to freezing temperatures, the water can freeze in the boiler, crack the cylinder head, and cause a lot of damage, which then isn't covered by the manufacturer's warranty, because it's your responsibility to drain your own vehicle down. So you would start off by draining the fresh and the waste outside the vehicle. Then you would come into the vehicle with no power on, no pump on, and open all the taps throughout. So kitchen, hand basin, shower. Leave the mixer tap open in the middle position. Unscrew your shower head from your hose and lie that in the shower tray. And then finally you want to drain this boiler down. So to drain it down, this is your pump, this is your charger unit. In the middle of it is your yellow drain down toggle. So it's lying down, that means the boiler can hold 10 litres of water. If you lift it up on end, you'll see the water come out the outside of the vehicle. It's just directly out underneath the chassis. 10 litres of water. Leave that stud open on end during the time you're not using the vehicle, and then when you come to reuse it, first thing you would do is close this. So you'd pop that back down, close the taps, assemble your shower head. Then you would fill the vehicle with fresh water, close your waste, and then prime the water back through. So you'd want to come in, put the panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get a pressurized flow of cold water straight away, because it's drawn in from underneath the van on the underslung tank via the pump to the tap. Then go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, and you'll not get water flow for a couple of more minutes until you get a free flow of water through the hot side. This is when you know that your system is then primed. And how you do that is because it transfers the water from the cold water via the pump into here, and it's pushing all the air out through the taps until you get a flow of water. Then you can then go on to heat your water, and your system is primed for the season. But remember, drain it down because it's not covered under warranty, and you do that by lifting that toggle up. Also beside your boiler is the manual wind down for your bed. So if you ever suffer 12 volt failure, where you've run out of 12 volt and you're wild camping, or your bed motor does break, which they don't normally break but sometimes they can, You need your bed winding handle, which looks like this. This is your boiler, this is the top of your motor. You want to pop it through the middle here, and then you can wind it to lower the bed or raise the bed in an emergency when you've lost all 12-volt power. So to form the bed base out the lounge for the bed with the table, what you've got to do is pull the extension out. You would do that anyway if you were using the table to give it a good supportive weight across the table. And then you want to drop it down, which is using this button here. So drop that down, pull the cushions out the way so that it doesn't damage your cushions, and the cushions allow the table to drop down. So you would drop that down, and then what you want to do is you want to remove the backrests and get rid of them. They're not needed. Push the cushions back to the back wall. So do it exactly the same on the other side. Get rid of your backrests. Push them in, and then you've got two infill cushions. One big one goes like that. One triangular shaped cushion which goes in at the end, and there you have a double bed across the width of the vehicle. To use the drop down bed, make sure that your lights are turned on the control panel, as that's how they've been wired, and then you can press this button here, bring the bed down and stop it at any height if you were using it with the additional bed underneath. Or you can bring it all the way down, but you will need to remove the backrests to bring it all the way down. So stop it there. Ladder can go on here, which is underneath. You've got some nets which will clip onto these toggles on the side of the bed frame, and the hooks on the roof just to stop children from rolling out the bed on an evening. And then you do have two USBs on each side of these lights, and you can press it to bring the light on, which is your reading lights. Make sure that you take your pillows off. You can leave your bedding on as long as it's not too thick. Don't put any too thick mattress toppers on either, because it will put strain on the motor and could blow the fuse. And when you're winterizing, drop the bed away from the ceiling so it allows air circulation on top of the mattress and no dampness is formed on the mattress. So you just leave it about a little bit more about there, so you can get air circulation in and out when not using the vehicle in the winter. But if not, you can bring it all the way up to the ceiling like it is there. So now in the cab, which is based on the all new Series 8 Fiat Ducato, you've got your handbrake down between your driver's seat and your door to the right. Electric windows, driver and passenger side, and then power folding wing mirrors on both sides. So if you're trying to get through a tight gap onto the driveway without hitting the wall or the fence post, you can pop your mirrors in. And then you do have electronically mirror adjustment here. So top mirror being the big one, bottom one being the blind spot, so you can adjust them to suit, all from the comfort of being inside the vehicle. Slide this forward, pull the blind up, and then put the little tab into the notch there, and that's how you black your driver and passenger window out on an evening, or if you're storing the vehicle and you don't want anyone to see inside. Your windscreen one, you just lift up, drop the mirror down slightly, pull it all the way up like so, and that's blacked out the windscreen. You've got eco button, so once you get up to speed you can knock it in eco if you want, and it should save you a little bit of fuel. Then when you want to overtake, just take eco off, allow the engine to get back to full power, overtake, and then knock it back into eco, because I assume it'll save you fuel over a long period of time if you are doing a lot of miles a year. Headlight adjustment, press once and your front fogs come on, press twice and your rear fog lights come on, and then you've got start stop disconnected. But start stop will only work if the battery's got enough charge in it, so if it's been standing for a while, don't expect the stop start to work straight away, and it'll not work if you've got your aircon on or any other device that's drawn a large current of power from the battery when stationary. Push up once and you'll get one swipe. You've got to adjust it here for your constant swiping with the wipers on the frequency on the side there. Lights and indicators this side. Behind the wheel you've got two buttons here, so you've got one here, so if I just show you, on either side you've got these. This one ignore them, they're a factory option and they don't work on this one because it hasn't got the factory head unit in. It does have the accent in, so I'll go through the accent head unit in a minute, so forget about those two buttons, you don't need them. Digital speedometer, then go along. Trip B average speed, trip B distance, trip A average speed, trip A average distance and travelling times. Your range, so you've got 139 miles in your fuel tank, and then you're back to your digital speedometer. Go down one and you can see your average instant consumption when travelling. Oil level, oil temperature, oil life, battery, voltage indicator, AdBlue level. So you've got 100% of AdBlue. Obviously when that goes down you can physically look now on the new Ducatos, whereas on the old one you just had to wait for the light. You can top it up, and then you do have a service light. No alerts, so if a door was open, if you've got an engine management light, anything like that, you get alerts there. And then you can go in the settings by pressing OK and changing the distance, the speed. So if you did go abroad and you wanted to change your speeds to kilometers per hour, you can, and it'll physically show that on the digital display, so that's great. Whereas on the old one you couldn't do that. And you can also change the date and the time when the clocks go back and forth in there as well. Answer and decline a call, voice command, and then you do have this button here which is cruise control. So get up to speed, press plus, which will set your cruise control. Plus to accelerate, minus to bring the speed down of the cruise control. You can cancel it here or cancel it with a foot brake and resume it to the last speed that was set there. And then you've got limiter, so if you're going through an average speed camera zone you can use the limiter, and it'll say on the bottom what the limiter is set to. Press and hold, goes up in 5s. Press rapidly, it goes up in 1s. The speed limiter can still be overridden by lifting off the accelerator and pushing it all the way at the floor, which will give you override, which is designed as a safety feature in case you were to be involved in a collision and you needed to swerve at a speed just to get around something. You can, so just feather the accelerator if you're using the limiter and it shouldn't go over the limit set. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift into reverse, which will bring on the rear view camera. So that's your rear view camera and the head unit there. Again, that bike rack is not standard. It's a dealership accessory that we fitted for this particular customer. So if you haven't asked for one, you won't be getting one. It is an extra, so you will get a clear view because this is a Lift 77 bike rack. So it does slightly encroach on the camera, but you can still see the vehicle behind you. 6-speed manual gearbox, like I've said. This will bring on gravity control connected, so it just means if you're going down a steep hill, you can pop that on. It's a bit like an engine brake, but I don't know what it really does for a manual because you'd use your gears to slow you down. It's more for an automatic. Traction control plus connected, so if you were on a wet grass pitch and you were struggling to get off, you can pop that on. It should give you a little bit more extra grip and then enable you to give it a little bit more gas, stop the ASP from kicking in, and you'll be able to glide off that wet grass pitch. Locks the doors, so cab and the habitation door. Just make sure all the other doors are manually locked with the habitation key. Hazards and heated mirrors, which is this one here. For charging, you've got a standard USB and a USB-C, followed by a cigarette 12-volt lighter socket. USB for the accent head unit, cup holders, glove box here as well for storing, which is heated and cooled via the air conditioning. On the left hand outer dial, you have your temperature of the cab. Must be on at least one or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here, and you can adjust that by turning this dial. Right outer dial is your distribution, so whether you wanted to go to face and feet in the screen, or just the screen, you can adjust it there, and then whether you're recirculating air within the van or you're bringing fresh air in. And then to work the accent head unit, so you turn on and off by pressing and holding here, and this is also your volume.
Supplies your energy.
You can go to home, and you've got a navigation card just in the top here, and this is a X550 unit. Press navigation, give it a moment. It'll run through a cycle, so you'll not get this. This is just because I've just put the card in, so give us a moment, I'll sort this out and I'll tell you what you get. So it's just going through the configuration of the sat-nav, language, voice, so once you click on your sat-nav, this is what you'll get. You'll get a map, and it's giving you an overview, and the little arrow is where you are. So at the minute we're on Lobley Hill Road, which is the A692, which is Tyne Valley Motorhomes. If you wanted to program where you want to go, click in the bottom right hand corner and click new route. If you've been anywhere, it'll be here. Press address. In the middle one, put either the town or the postcode, so you can punch in, say we'll go to Edinburgh, go to town, gives you an overview, select as destination, it's calculating the route. So there, overview, there's the line it's going to take you up. It's saying it's 114 mile from here, which is going to take you 2 hours and 46 minutes. It started the guidance there, so you're just going to follow the orange line, cancel the route there, go back to home. You've got a radio, which is just FM. You'd use DAB, so you can go to list and you can find your national, regional, national, and BBC national channels, so you can just click into the files and you'll find the station you want, and you can pop 6 of them into your presets. If you are struggling for DAB, you can switch back over to FM and do the same. Bluetooth, you want to go on your phone and you want to find accent, that's what it's called. So if you open your settings on your device, on your phone that you want to connect, so if I go here, go to Bluetooth, scroll down there, so searching, it's found Callum's iPhone, that's my phone there. You press pair on your device, and then it'll ask you if you want to download your contacts. Just press allow and it'll save that. It'll download all your contacts, so you can dial a number on the keypad, scroll through contacts, recent call log, or you can go to music and you can use your phone if you've got music on your phone via Spotify, Apple Music, or you've just downloaded onto your phone. You can pair it in there over Bluetooth because it doesn't take a CD, and it means you don't have to be connected to the USB. You've got nav, camera, DAB, Bluetooth shortcut buttons here. Obviously the camera you can press all the time and see the back of the vehicle even when driving forward. That's there. Obviously USB, iPod alone all come up once connected via the USB. And then you've got settings here. So if you ever need to update this unit, you need to go on the Accent's website, updates. X550 is this unit on a Fiat, on the X550. Download it onto a memory stick, pop the memory stick into here, and then you want to press install software, tick, and it'll download the latest software update onto here. But you can always view what software it's running by pressing software version info, and it's V2.5, and that is the Accent head unit.